Hello there, everyone. My name's Kevin, aka Toying Around. Normally on this channel, I unbox toys and action figures with my friends, and I review action figures. But the great thing about that is those toys are usually made from, a TV show or a movie that we enjoy watching. So I have the opportunity to talk about a new show that we're all excited about, Star Wars: The Bad Batch. Just launched last week on May the 4th, Star Wars Day, and then the second episode was May the 7th. And I'm very excited I'm just going to get right into it, to chat about the new show with my friends, Paul and Yoko.
Hi.
Good evening.
Caught me. I was looking down.
I know. I'm trying to post on Instagram.
It's us.
I saw Paul pop up like this.
It's fiddling with the cables. And I was like, it's stuck here somewhere. And then I looked up. Let's go. Hello.
How's everyone doing tonight?
Great.
I'm good.
Great.
Sorry, Yoko, go ahead.
No, I'm good. I was like, wait, are you talking to us or are you talking to the chat? You're talking to us.
Talking to you guys. The chat's awesome. They're here. They're watching. Hopefully, everyone watching has had a chance to watch episode 1 and 2. Oh, I assume so. Otherwise, I hope they're not tuning in for spoilers. But yeah. Last time I did this with my friends for the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I did this Friday night, and I felt like people, I guess, if they wanted to join in the live chat, they didn't have enough time to watch the episode yet. But now that 2 episodes have come out, it's Monday. Usually Star Wars posts like official pictures on Monday anyway on their Instagram, so I guess they've deemed that enough time for you to watch it. And if not, then beware.
Well, that's general rule of thumb, right? 3 days.
Yeah.
Is it 3 days?
Yeah. If you haven't seen it in 3 days, then too bad. That was pretty much it on the Facebook groups. I know for Mando season 2, there was a strict 3-day there was a moratorium or what is it called when they ban you from talking, an embargo on it until the Monday, and then they would open it up. But until then, you weren't allowed to post anything about the episode. And I think 3 days is fair game. And this is a live stream, man. I mean, it's not like we're barging into people's homes and kicking down doors and forcing their eyes open. You were going to watch this live stream, and we're going to spoil the Bad Batch for you. So
that's true.
Hopefully you are here by choice. Yeah. No one is forcing you.
If you clicked onto this by accident, we are going to be talking about the Bad Batch episodes 1 and 2. There will be spoilers. If you haven't watched it yet, just leave the video running and go to another room. That would be appreciated. Thank you. Shout out to everyone who's watching tonight. I just want to keep this real quick because I do appreciate Paul and Yoko being here. Real quick, Paul, why don't you give yourself an introduction? I'm sure.
Yeah, okay. I'm doing Kevin's job for him. My name is Paul Sun-hyung Lee. I'm an actor.
Is that what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah, you're the host, man.
That's the industry standard. My bad.
No, it's cool. It's cool. I'll just talk about I'm an actor, virgin YouTuber. I met Kevin actually through Instagram, and I've been on Toying Around. I've met the Butter Baron online, and we've done a couple of unboxings together, which has been great. And I've done a couple of live streams. And I've always had fun because it's always cool when you connect with and get to collaborate with people who are like-minded. And what's really cool is I get to meet more people like Yoko. Today's the first time meeting her, and I'm really excited because she's got an awesome collection behind her. And I found out she's got 2 really cool orange tabbies. That's my favorite kind of cat. We had a great tabby. I think I love cats. I love dogs. I love toys. I love butter. So this is a pro for me all around. And Star Wars too.
and Star Wars. The final note, and Star Wars.
I'm overwhelmed here. I had to introduce myself. I haven't had to do that in a while.
Okay. If next time we do this, I'll have an introduction ready for you. So just to keep it fair, Yoko, why don't you tell everyone about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Yoko. I am a collector and fan as well. My day job is marketing for Super 7, and then I like to do unboxings and Twitch streams and hang out with, like Paul said, like-minded people to just kind of share in the joy together. And I love to watch these new shows and talk about it with people. So, and then yes, Lucy, one of my orange cats, is right here behind me. I'm sure we'll hear from her soon. And then Larry's loitering around too. Yeah. Yep. There she is.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Yoko, you mentioned you have a Twitch. I have everyone's Instagram information and websites in the description. So people who are watching, feel free to go check them out later. So Bad Batch, first episode was May 4th. Paul and I did a stream that evening, after which we rushed to watch the episode again. Paul, what did you think of the Bad Batch before going into it? Like before watching it, how did you feel about the show?
Before I watch a show?
Before this specific show, like, were you super excited about it?
Oh,
or?
I see. I thought you asked me to judge a show before I'd seen it. Yeah, I was like, that's odd. No, I mean, I was excited. Pretty much anything. I mean, from their introduction in season 7 of the Clone Wars, I thought it was a really unique spin, and I love the idea that there would be some differently engineered clones, and it only made sense, and it sort of took it off in its own direction. And I really liked, Clone Force 99. I thought it had a really cool name, and anything Dave Filoni touches, basically, in my opinion, turns into gold. And so I was excited about these storylines, and especially the end of the Clone Wars and how they tied it into Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, and how everything. I mean, I rewatched the final season of Clone Wars just to prep for the Bad Batch.
Right.
And it's like there's a decided shift in tone in the last 4 episodes when they throw up the old Lucasfilm title card, right? And it just gets really dark because a storm is coming. And so I was really excited to see where they were going to pick up the storyline with the Bad Batch, because they made their first appearance at the beginning of season 7. They're in a few episodes, then they disappear. They go off. They take Echo with them. And I was really, really jonesing to see which direction they were going to go. And I thought what we got was fantastic. I mean, that first episode was like an hour and 15 minutes long. I had no idea that it was going to be a half hour. And then, we sat down, and like you said, while I was doing a live stream with you, I left. It was like 10:30 at night. And the boys, I have 2 sons, and they were, they had to go to school the next day, or virtual school online. And we sat down, we realized it was over an hour long. And my wife, that gave me the worst, like so angry. She was like, how could you let them stay up this late to watch this? Like, we should have watched this earlier. And I said, I had no idea. I thought it was only going to be a half hour. But
you just blame Kevin, right? Yeah.
It's basically what I said. It's Kevin.
Blame, you can say the Butter Baron, but then she'll think that sounds made up. It's like, who is this fictitious character you're blaming?
Oh no, she's mad at you for hoarding all the butter already. I told her about the butter. He's the reason why when I go shopping for butter and it's on sale, it's all gone. And all the Black Series toys.
Yoko, how much is butter in California? You have them by the.
Well, I'm in Washington, but I actually do not know how much they are.
Okay. I've always wanted to know if it's cheaper.
I've not committed that. But you know what? Next time I go to the store, I will check for you.
Yeah, send me a picture, please.
I'll take pictures. Yes.
Yoko, how were you feeling going into this new series before it started? Like, were you excited about it? How did you feel?
I was excited about it, but I was not as excited about it as maybe I was about WandaVision or Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think. It's a different kind of excitement. Because for me, I'm like, here are 4 new characters that I have to get to know again. And it's not that I don't want to know new characters. I'm very open to meeting new characters. But it's just it was hard for me to get too excited without really knowing them yet, if that makes sense. But, just new Star Wars content, sure. I mean, I love Clone Wars. I love Rebels. So I was looking forward to it for sure, but just I don't feel like I was as excited as some other people were, but I'm sure that will grow as I'm on your way, as the season goes on.
Yeah, I think I rewatched episode 7 or season 7 again, and they were kind of cool, but I wasn't fully I didn't fully buy into the team. The concept of it was cool, but I didn't Wrecker is the big dumb strong guy who just makes these little comments. So I was trying to go into it open-minded because it is Star Wars. It's new Star Wars content. I didn't want to, I should be happy that we're getting new content.
Right. Yeah.
But man, after that first 10 minutes that I watched, that first scene, I'm sold, and I've bought as much Bad Batch stuff as I can. And the cool part about this is, we talk about toys as well here, whatever merchandise. I mean, there's been a lot that's been announced and released. I know Yoko and I both bought some stuff today. Paul, or should we leave the toys for the end? Let's leave the toys.
Oh, you're the boss. You're in charge.
This is
This is your
planning here
show.
whatsoever.
This is chaos. This is chaos. This is what happens when you're on a butter high. Right?
This is
I actually had an agenda, and he was like, "A what?" I'm like, "Oh, okay." So we're just gonna wing it. I see.
Winger Lou says there's Wikipedia says, or the Star Wars wiki says there's 16 episodes, so it's gonna be. Hopefully there aren't too many filler episodes, but it's gonna be great. Let's start off with the first episode.
Sorry, I just want to stop. Why does everybody get so mad about filler episodes? Like this whole mantra about filler. Oh, it's a filler episode. It didn't.
I'm not mad.
Every single question that I needed right away, so it was a filler episode. Like that stuff drives me crazy. Like when they were doing that for season 2 Mandalorian, it's like if it didn't automatically answer every single question that was left that was made in the previous episode, it was a filler episode. And I think that term kind of bothers me a little bit. I think I've just been triggered by that, just because. You know, it is whenever, like, for example, with Mando, you have like 8 episodes. There's no room for a filler episode.
No, there's no
for a reason.
No,
right?
I would say there's no filler in Mando.
Yeah. And then so for for Bad Batch, for example, they've got it's animated. Somebody, I think I saw a comment which says Wiki says there's 16 episodes of it.
Right.
Again, you don't have that much room to play with. If you have 16, I mean, these things cost money,
right?
And they don't have that much time for a sort of standalone adventure. Or whatever, where it's episodic instead of all synchronous or all in a row. Syndicated? I can't remember. Anyways, but it's like this is part of the journey too. And what I love about this is because they're intertwining all the universes, right? Because already with the Bad Batch, they're laying down some stuff that was mentioned in Mandalorian. And for further down the line. So they're connecting all the threads. And it's a very, very interesting and intricate process when they're universe building like this, because they're creating their own sort of intersectionality with the different timelines and the different shows that they're producing for Disney Plus. And I love that. And there's a little bit of retconning happening there too, because you have the appearance of Kanan Jarrus as a Padawan there, as Caleb, right? And that goes right against the Marvel comic books as to what happened between him and his master and how his master was killed by the clones. And so you've got a little bit of tweaking that's going on there and stuff. But sorry, I just realized I went on this 5-minute rant about filler episodes. And
then you went right to Kanan.
Yeah,
yes.
Like filibustering right there.
No, it's all good. I mean, I don't think in a short Mandalorian season 2, like I don't think there were any filler episodes in that. It definitely it was bringing the story, moving it forward. But I think in some of the Clone Wars seasons I watched before, the longer ones, there were some episodes where I could kind of look away and not really have to pay attention for the general plot point for the whole season. But that could also just be me, that immediate sense of gratification to be like, I want something now. Like I want my Amazon order right now when I order it on Prime, or my new toys. But yeah, Paul, you bring up the first part. I think they retconned it, like TV and movies kind of overrule comics and things that have happened in the past. And the first appearance, they're on the planet Caller, with you see Jedi Master Depa Bilaba. That's just a fun name to say. And her Padawan is Caleb Doom. And we all know, if you guys have watched Rebels. So I thought it was really cool to see that. Were you guys excited to see him, or like just surprised that he showed up?
As soon as I heard her name in that voiceover leading into in the intro of the episode, when I heard Depa Bilaba, I was like, oh, what are we going to see right now? You know? so that was exciting. But I didn't realize that he had a different story in the comics. I haven't read his comic storyline, but I did just read A New Dawn, which was the novel that's based on kind of on a Kanan and Hera first meeting, and he kind of has flashbacks to when he was a kid. So it adds up with that story. If anyone's read or been thinking about reading A New Dawn, I recommend it. And I think for me it added up. So when I heard people complaining about his story being retconned, I was really confused. I didn't even think about the comics, which is silly. But yeah, so it's interesting to see the I don't want to say the liberties they're taking, but the decisions they're making to override some of those previous storylines is interesting. But hopefully it'll make sense later. Yeah.
Me being the prepared host, Do you remember offhand what the Marvel the comic story was for Kanan, the previous story?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, 499 wasn't there, first of all. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the biggest thing right there. The Bad Batch wasn't present in the comic book for that. And I believe it was her death, his master's death was around a campfire instead at night,
Okay.
instead of the way it went down. So, I mean, basic stuff like that. I mean, to be honest, I haven't read the books, but I have clicked on a number of articles that complain about how. So I am very good about that. But that's the main difference is the fact that that the Bad Batch weren't present
Right.
or as present, and Hunter didn't let Caleb escape. Right, like that's one of the biggest things right there, and it's interesting when they when they tinker with it and try to retcon it, just because it's what serves the story the best going forward at a certain point. And I think, Yoko, you make a great point in terms of the storylines there in a novel. It's a novel that you're talking about, right? The novel.
Yep.
So I think there's more weight in that because they're working more hand in hand with the films through those mediums instead of the comic books. Because I think the Kanan Jarrus, the Marvel issues, those are out a number of years ago, right? And this is before they had any plans to actually integrate that character further on with the Bad Batch, right? The Bad Batch hadn't been greenlit yet at that point. So I'm assuming that in terms of a dramatic effect and tying together the storylines, it made more sense for Kanan to be there.
Mm-hmm. I think it was a really cool way for them to set up the timeline where exactly we were, not just like the Separatists were pushing back, but then they're when Tech he says over the comms, like, oh, there's a report that General Kenobi has engaged General Grievous on Utapau, and you're just like, oh, like,
you know exactly where you are, right?
Yeah, happen. It's about to go down. Oh, well, Winger Lose, thank you for the super chat. He says Kevin has a dark side Vader on his shoulder. Took incredible joy when the Razor Crest blew up. I didn't take.
Explain.
I had predicted that the Razor Crest would blow up. I didn't take joy. The only joy I took was that I predicted it because HasLab was Paul. You're in on the HasLab thing, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, what if it blows up in the very next episode, and then right after the HasLab thing closes, and then the year after that, the HasLab would be like a Boba Fett Slave 1 3/3/4, which kind of sets it up for that. And then sure enough, when it happened, it blew up on the screen. I was like the Leonardo DiCaprio meme, like pointing like this. I'm like, I said this. So I'm not happy it blew up because it was a cool ship and I wanted to buy stuff for it. But it was that I predicted it, but that's not a big deal. But thank you, Win or Lose. Did you guys notice it was Freddie Prinze Jr.'s voice? He returned for the role. I thought that was pretty cool, but he didn't sound teenagery.
No, he had a pretty deep voice. It's like, are you trying to sound? I mean, it's tough. That's your register, and without any electronic filtering, it's tough. I'm not going to be too hard on the guy, but it was like, I noticed it. I said, wow, he's got a wonderful singing voice.
It threw me a little bit, how old he sounded, but I feel like you had to keep Freddie Prinze Jr.'s voice so that, to keep that continuity so people would know who he was, right? So
it was a cool nod, and to keep for consistency to bring him back. That's awesome. Another thing, he brings in Clone Force 99 as backup. They take care of this battalion of droids. Did you notice how when Crosshair shoots, he's like the only one out of the team who actually says like "sir," "yes sir," and all those other regular clone kind of phrases? I felt like it was kind of like showing you what's going to happen later on, how the programming, how his genetic mutation or whatever deviation didn't overtake his what's that chip called that he has like the other clone?
The inhibitor
chips.
Inhibitor chip, yeah. There were these lines, these quotable like regular clone lines that he says. And I'm just like, oh, now when I watch the second time, I'm like this kind of tips it like, oh, he's not fully he's still kind of controlled by his inhibitor chip.
I didn't notice.
But that, Caleb Dune, he escapes. Hunter and Crosshair are kind of chasing him down, and Hunter says like, "Oh, he fell down," and Crosshair is kind of questioning. He's like, "Oh, why would you look? Usually when people fall, you would look down, not across the chasm or whatever." And he's just questioning him the whole time. How do you guys feel about Crosshair?
I was trying to remember if he always had that. Did he have that creepy voice in season 7?
Yeah.
So it's like you should have seen it coming then, right?
I kind of love it because I think he's the perfect sort of villain to sort of chase them down, right? Because he is one of them. He was one of them, and it's like Omega says, it's not your fault. Like, I understand. Like, I get what you're gonna do. It's not your fault. And there's always, I find those villains, the tragedy of them, I find that way more compelling. The best villains are the ones that believe that they're doing good. They're not doing things for evil, and the fact that he's also being manipulated through that inhibitor chip makes it that much more tragic. But he's also the most dangerous one to hunt them down, and I think that's what I love about it, is the fact that you've seen it time and time again. The Bad Batch can handle entire armies on their own, but can they handle one of their own? And one who is arguably the most deadly of all of them. And so to make him the heavy and the villain, I love, because it's going to be a very, very difficult task for them to fight against their brother. And they're going to want to try to save him. And he's not going to give them sort of the same consideration, at least until it counts, right? And so that's the beauty of what they're setting up right there, is that there is already conflict, emotion-wise, loyalty-wise, all these things, because they know their brother is in there. But he's definitely out to get them. I mean, he took a shot at, I mean, how many times did he shoot Wrecker? Right. So it's kind of like, there's not, without any hesitation, he's ready to drop them. So
especially now that they turned it up on him too. Right. Yeah.
The moment he started turning and separating from the team, I was like, I need that figure now even more, because I had missed it. I got Hunter, but then like the way he looks, he just looks like he should always be smoking a cigarette or something and ready to snipe somebody. Yeah, I'm just gonna go through some of the plot points. Stop me. Sorry, say it again.
I said I think it's a toothpick.
Yeah, he does have a toothpick, but I feel like just like the trail of smoke, just I don't know. That's just in my head, adds a little bit more. Stop me at any point where you have like you notice something in the episode, but then they fly back to Camino, where they go have lunch, and then they meet Omega, which is the Greek alphabet, the last letter. Usually they use it for stuff. It's like the end of anything, end of the alphabet. But when you're chronologically labeling stuff, they put that as the end. She sits down. She has a great accent. I love it. The way she pronounces everyone's name on the team and her own, it's fantastic. And then they get into a fight, and then they notice that Tarkin is on Camino. They're shutting down the clone program. They're trying to see if it's cost effective. They'd rather use conscription to get people throughout the galaxy. Is cheaper than paying for clones. And he runs a test on the Bad Batch using live rounds and stuff. How do you guys feel about like Tarkin? Paul, how do you feel about Tarkin in Clone Wars and in Bad Batch? Like how he's been portrayed?
Yeah, no, I think it's fairly consistent with what we saw in A New Hope. He's a bit of a jackass, to be honest. Like he's got that British sensibility. No, but I mean, it makes sense too, because we know by the time A New Hope rolls around, there aren't any clones around in service, right? It's all a conscripted army,
right?
And so it makes sense that they're starting to sort of phase out the clones, as it were. And I love that they're building a sense of distrust, like that. The fact that this seems a little bit more personal for him. Like he's going there, and you get the sense that he's not just trying to save credits.
Yeah,
he actively distrust
clones. Yeah.
Clones. Yeah, he doesn't like them at all, and he especially doesn't like the Bad Batch. Any of these enhanced clones. I think part of it might have to do with the fact that they were the backbone of the Old Republic. Right. And so, yes, they have inhibitor chips, but he's seen that inhibitor chips don't always function. And they're also a reminder of the old Republic. They were the Grand Army of the old Republic, right? And so they want to sweep that away, just like he said to the Kaminoans. It's like, your contract to make these clones were with the old Republic. That's gone. This is the Empire now, and we're going to do things our way. And so yeah, I think I like his portrayal so far. I think it's in line, and yeah, he makes for a great heavy as well, in terms of somebody who's going to be a constant thorn in the side of the Bad Batch.
Yeah,
just pure evil.
I kind of jumped ahead a little bit with the whole Order 66 thing. Yoko, how did you feel when Depa Billaba looks over her shoulder and like the hologram of Palpatine just over her shoulder? How did you feel at that moment?
How did I feel?
Yeah.
What didn't I feel though? Right? It's like Leo, in that moment, you know exactly what's about to happen. And it's just like it's heartbreaking all over again, right? To know that, and then especially seeing young Kanan there now too, watching it happen. Even though we've seen him talk about it, or but just a different perspective on it, other than the main characters that we've already seen. It's kind of just shows how deep it goes, I think.
Yeah, I think watching that montage of all the Jedi being shot down in the movies is like, I watch it a lot, not because I'm sick, but because it seems like a very powerful sequence of events. And this was like a new scene that was that you haven't seen with a new character you haven't seen before. Paul, how did you feel about that whole reveal there at that moment?
Yeah, I mean, the dramatic irony is there in full force, because what happens to Jedi Order.
Yeah.
And it is the inevitability of that tragedy and the betrayal too, which I find really sort of stunning, because they were literally moments before fighting side by side, and her own troops turn on her, and her first thought is to save her Padawan and protect him. And I don't think she was, it was that whole idea of, I think she was still kind of holding back as well. She's fully defensive on the clones, but she could have cut them all down. Instead, it seemed like she was just trying to defend herself and protect them at the same time, which I think speaks volumes to her compassion as a character and as a Jedi. But again, it harkens back, like you said, it's the montage of all the Jedi falling. Now, I think the first time I saw that in movie theaters, like, it was devastating, because you wanted them to say stop, to save the Jedi, and to say, you guys have to, somehow something's
confused.
Yeah, exactly. But then after a while, like after a bunch of viewings, you kind of go, wow, it was pretty easy to kill them all, because they were just so trusting of the clones, right?
Yeah.
They got shot in the back, blown up. It was just, and that's what made it even more devastating. As a fact, I think is they trusted these clones, and they were so easily manipulated because of those chips. And that's just how nasty Darth Sidious was in terms of his long game and planning everything out. And it's like, we're going to entrench these troops with you this entire time. You will live with them. You will eat with them. You will share experiences with them. And at the height of your victory, they're going to stab you in the back. And it's just brutal to watch. So yeah, seeing that, it's like, it was the whole, well, how's she going to go down? Like, how's she going to go down with a bang?
They made sure to show that a little bit too, when her lead guy, I can't remember his name, but after I think Hunter was like, well, are you gonna counterattack now? Or, he spoke a little rudely to her, and then her lead clone guy was like, hey, that's up to her. You don't tell her what to do. So they had just showed that relationship with the clone being protective of her, and then a minute later he's attacking her, right? Like,
flip of a switch.
Yeah.
They fought side by side by you. You've built up this relationship for sure. So yeah, the Bad Batch, they head back to Kamino. There's the shock troopers are there, the Coruscant Guard are there. There's like a dead Jedi being walked out, and they're all confused as to what's going on. So it's kind of crazy. So Tarkin is there to assess everybody. He sends the Bad Batch onto a mission to see, like, to test where their loyalties are. He says there's a group of separatists that he wants them to hunt down and basically eliminate. And so the Bad Batch goes on. They find this group of separatists, but it's really Saw Gerrera and a bunch of, I guess, more freedom fighters and Republic loyalists trying to refugees. They're just trying to stay alive. And so Hunter, who's not controlled by this inhibitor chip, he sees everything. He hesitates. He doesn't give the order to attack people, and then they end up being talked out of taking these people out. There's it's the probe droid is there.
Yep.
Sending signals back to Tarkin, and then they end up having to take one of them out, just like in Empire. Was that like a obvious setup? Like once you knew they were being sent on a mission to take these people out?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you knew it was just. I mean, it couldn't have been more obvious, right? The fact that Tarkin had already tried to throw them under the bus by using live ammunition in a field exercise with them, and he sends them off to test their loyalty. It's like, they're not mindless automatons like the rest of the clones are with the inhibitor chips. I mean, I've seen this quote again in the chat feature, and it's absolutely right. It's a good soldiers follow orders, right? Mindlessly. And what separates the Bad Batch is they think outside the box. They don't just blindly follow orders. They're able to critically look at a situation and adjust their tactics. And when they see they've been lied to. First of all, they're not separatists. Saw Gerrera is not a separatist, right? He fought for he fights for the rebellion, and he was trained by, Anakin and Obi-Wan and the clones to fight against the separatists, right? So that's a lie. And so, of course, they're not going to attack these people, and because of defenses, that, like you said, there were a bunch of refugees guarded by rebel, like the beginning of rebel troops, basically. And I think it was all set up anyways. I think Tarkin was just looking. He knew that's what was going to happen, and I think he was just looking for any excuse to just get rid of Clone Force 99 and just move on.
Do you have a sense when this series? It's like when you watch Rogue One, you knew that their story would be ending at a certain point. Did you kind of have that hovering over the show when you were starting with these characters
for the Bad Batch?
Yeah.
Yoko, do you want to take this or?
I was gonna say not so much for the Bad Batch. I feel like this could go in so many different directions. Watching season 7 of Clone Wars, for sure, it's like you knew how that was gonna end, and that was an anxious few weeks getting to those final episodes. But I feel like Bad Batch, you don't necessarily know what's going to happen to them. They can still pop up somewhere. They can be in hiding. So I think we know what's going to happen to the rest of the clone army, but the Bad Batch guys, I think maybe they're still around. You can be optimistic.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, because Captain Rex and Commander Wolf, they showed up in Rebels. Afterwards. Like they had gone into hiding. You can, like, Galaxy's a big place. You can, if you want to disappear and go off the grid, you can absolutely do that. And I think for the Bad Batch, who knows? They could have been reinvented, and they could have joined the rebellion, and they could have been another sort of secret commando force that nobody knew about.
That would be very cool.
It's an awesome. When you're not tied into a specific event, like Rogue One was completely tied into, like, that was the whole getting the Death Star plans out, and that's the first strike of the Rebel Alliance type thing, and you knew, because later on you didn't hear about any of these characters, that that was gonna be it for them, right? There was a sense of inevitability, and I think had they escaped or survived, I would have felt a little bit robbed. I would have felt like, okay, it's kind of a cheat, right? Because then if they did such great work on Scarif, then why don't we hear about the exploits of Cassian Andor and Jyn Erso and all that? So it was good you knew it was coming, and it made sense, and it was a beautiful sort of ending for that story itself. I thought it was very noble. Rogue One for me was hit all the right notes too, because it gave the scale of what the rebellion was. It was a little bit more realistic in its portrayal of how scared the Rebel Alliance was and how fragile it was. And so it was great, because that was the spark that started, to steal from the sequel trilogy, that was the spark that really ignited the rebellion and got the original trilogy going. And so it made sense for that storyline to end. And like Yoko said, with the Bad Batch, it could go so many different ways, just because it isn't specifically tied to an end point anywhere in the universe right now.
Yeah, that's Yeah, that's a good point. I was just kind of like,
You're just rooting for the doom and gloom. I'm starting to understand you better. Like you want everything to end. You just want everything to end, apparently.
Razor like to blow up. He wants.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I'm a bit of a pessimist.
I guess so, man.
Jaideep said, asking the important questions: are Bad Batch figures available at Toys R Us? I believe Hunter was back up, not Crosshair, but that wave I picked up that wave from Toys R Us in store. So like again, the important questions, and I missed Crosshair, but I picked it up today at EB Games. So they head back to Camino. Tarkin's like, "Hey, you didn't follow orders. We're throwing you." Did he call it the brig? We're just throwing you in jail. But the Bad Batch were like, "We have to rescue Omega anyway." First, they were like, "Get out of here, kid. We're your parents." And then now they're like, "She's one of us," because they know Lama Su or one of the other Kaminoans said there's 5 modified clones. It's not Echo because he's a reg, so she's the fifth and final one, the Omega. So they're like, okay, we have to protect her. They get thrown in jail, but it also happens, luckily, that she's there, and then the Kaminoans help them on their escape. Did I gloss over that too quickly? Or that's pretty much the gist of it.
They did help them, right? I meant to go back and rewatch that part. Did the Kaminoans help them?
Yeah, they messed with some of the doors,
right?
Or something.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Think they were being chased, and then they messed with the locks.
I wasn't sure if I interpreted that correctly or not, but that's what I was thinking. It's interesting. It's funny. It's funny because they're so emotionless, expressionless. So you don't really know what they're thinking.
Well, they're
right?
aliens. Yeah. You know, have you had much experience reading facial expressions on?
Other aliens are quite expressive at times.
Oh yeah, that's true. So they take off with Omega and the ship, and then they're heading off to another planet. And she's like, she's never seen space. I think she hasn't really been outside of this cloning facility.
No. Yeah.
So after the first episode, Paul, what did you think? Well, other than like I'm in a lot of trouble with my wife right now, and the kids need to go to bed.
Oh my god, it's late. It's really late. I kind of didn't want it to end, and I think that's the sign of a successful first episode, is the fact that you're like, okay, I want more. I want to find out what happens next. And I was quite pleased with it. Yeah. So I think it laid the groundwork for an entire series. You see the arcs, you see the bad guys, you see, you're introduced to new characters and new motivations. And it's this whole idea of, okay, well, we've got one person that we can go to. And it's like, oh, who could that be? Right. Like that whole idea of who's their ally. And you sort of go back over the old episodes and trying to think of who are they looking for? Is it Rex? Is it? But they don't know if Rex is free or not, or this or that. So I was trying to rack my brains, because earlier on, like, because he had fought with Clone Force 99 had fought with Anakin, so they're not gonna go to Anakin, Rex, Commander Cody, and Jesse. And it's like, well, no, they're all part of the, like, they could all be switched. They have no idea. So I was trying to figure out who they were gonna hook up with, and that was answered in episode 2. And it's like you had to go back, because that was like a season 2 episode.
Yeah.
And it was just like, and I had forgotten about him. I was like, who's this guy? What's so I had to go back and actually rewatch that episode. And it's like, okay, so Rex was there with him, but none of the other Bad Batch guys were. So my question is, well, how do they know about this guy?
Yeah, I wondered that too.
Right?
But then I was like, I'm not going to worry about it too much.
That was the only thing about that episode.
We'll let it slide.
I didn't get to rewatch episode 2. I did rewatch episode 1. Maybe there's something I missed, but I don't think they specifically said how they knew about Cut. They were just like, plot a course for J19.
Yeah.
But also during the getaway, Omega picks up a blaster and she takes a few very accurate shots at Crosshair, allowing the team and everyone to escape. What do you guys, Yoko, what do you think her power? I guess it's pretty early, What do you think she's skilled in?
It's hard to not think she's showing force sensitivity, right? Like earlier too, first I was like, is she just like an empath? Like, is she like 11? You know, it's kind of what I was thinking too. Like, you know, she was like sensing people's feelings and emotions. It seemed like really well, and reading people really well. And then when she picks up the blaster, you're just like, I don't want to think she's force sensitive, because then I don't want to think maybe she's a Palpatine clone. But like, it's hard to not go. Like, they're leading you to think that right now, I think, right?
Yeah, there's nothing definitive. Paul, do you have any predictions?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm coming to the same boat with Yoko.
Yeah.
It's like these are she's showing the earlier signs of force sensitivity.
Yeah.
The fact that she goes to Crosshair and says, "Look, I know this isn't. I see what, like, she has precognition.
Yeah.
She sees what he's going to do before he does it, and she says, "It's not your fault. Don't worry about it."
Yeah,
and then the fact that she picks up a blaster and like picks off the guy whose name is literally Crosshair. Has never fired a weapon before. You kind of go, nah, a little bit of force sensitivity, maybe. I don't know if she is necessarily a Palpatine clone though, just because she is of the same sort of genetic makeup as the rest of the Bad Batch and the rest of the clones. Like they said, it's a variant on that, and I think that's why they feel a kinship towards her. Because I think if she was a Palpatine clone, they would not have that same connection, right? And I think there is that sort of drive, that connection when Hunter realizes that, oh, she's one of us, and they have to go back and get her.
Nice.
It's like, okay, I get it, and she's the only female version of the clones, so that makes her unique in many different ways.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
No, I like that. That reassures me. I don't want her to be a Palpatine clone, so she's not. You convinced me. She's not.
I could be completely wrong too, right?
Nope, you're right. Nope, you're right.
Like in the final episode, she gets do it.
That would
like,
be
no, the Bad Batch.
That would be a twist.
Oh my gosh! I never thought in a million years I would see Paul go play this creature.
I mean, it's funny. Sorry, there's a win or lose. There's a comment I'm seeing. A clone that's force sensitive that's worthy of the Empire's attention, and it's like, and it's this whole, they're fascinated by manipulating beings, that are sensitive to the Force. I mean, that's Mandalorian basically. Is Moff Gideon is looking for the child or Grogu because he wants the power. He wants the powers, right? And it's like, I think in some of the lore, it's like clones can't exhibit Force powers. That's one of the things. That's why Palpatine keeps. There are all these failed experiments of Palpatine and whatnot. It's like, it's to have a clone that has Force powers. They're really, really unstable and end up destroying themselves because of it. But again, that's all expanded universe stuff, right? Like, nothing has been made purely canon yet on that. But there is definite themes that are running through these iterations of the Clone Wars onwards, is that fascination with Force users, Force sensitive users, and can we recreate that?
And I gotta think that's why the Kaminoans let her leave with the Bad Batch, because they know what the Empire would do with someone Force sensitive. And so I think she is, they're being kind of protective of her, knowing that she's going to be safe with the Bad Batch. And that's why they let her go, I think. I think it's more about her than it is about the Bad Batch, right? Letting them escape.
Yeah. It seems like there's a bit of everyone's is like doing the best thing for her, for this child. That's a theme you see more in episode 2. Thank you everyone who's watching on YouTube and Twitch right now. Feel free to subscribe here. This is what we do almost every week. Also from Twitch, Panfred Nudo says her watching tech with all the takeoff procedures too was interesting as well. If not Force sensitive, maybe being a mix of all of them is on the table as well. That's what I kind of thought, where it's like all of them together. She's kind of got the sharpshooter thing going, that part with the takeoff. She hasn't shown like super strength or anything like that, but it's, that was my guess.
That part is the childlike wonder that Wrecker exhibits. She has that childlike one. That's part of Wrecker that's in her. I think that's a great theory. But the only fly in the ointment for that is the fact that she's got that precognition. She said to Crosshair, I know what you're going to do. It's not your fault. She sees that. she doesn't know,
Mhm.
like, how else can she have that sort of empathic ability? I mean, that's the only thing that I would flag, that I would raise, is to say that, yeah, she seems to know a little bit more than everybody else is sort of privy to, right? And that for me is a definite marker
Mhm.
for sensitivity. But other than that, I think that's a really great scenario, as well as the fact that she has like qualities from all of them within her, and she is like the omega. She will be the final and
Mhm.
best of the Bad Batch.
Right. There's the scene in the mess hall with the food fight. It kind of, her and Wrecker kind of parallel the same way, because he backs her up. Like, she throws food at the first one, and then they're walking away. He's like, I'm going to throw something too. So if it,
Mm.
not to make it so like overtly like, oh, she's all of them because they have the same strength and
Mhm.
whatever skills. That scene kind of showed like, hey, they're similar in that sense as well, sticking up for the team. To me anyway.
Maybe she's not being an empath, and maybe those are supposed to be like Hunter's leadership skills that she's exhibiting there, like where she's kind of understanding where they're I don't know what they're thinking or something, and maybe it just seems like she's being an empath, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's just her like observing. I don't know. I'm trying to make it work. I'm trying to make the theory work.
We will see.
Yeah.
It can be all. It can be everything.
No, I would
Mm.
like to agree with you, Yoko,
Mm.
just because I think the whole idea of force sensitivity
Mm.
is kind of getting heavy-handed. It's like,
Mm.
we can't explain it. It's the force.
Right.
It's like everything else. Like, it's magic. You must be magically inclined, and so
Mhm.
that's why I'd love to lean more into the idea of her not being force sensitive.
Yeah.
But yeah, just based on the evidence that I see so far, I mean, I think that's a really great idea as well too. The fact that it's a leadership, like, she can pick up on signalers better than Hunter can,
Yeah.
and I kind of like that. I think that's a really great explanation as well for her.
True. Episode 2, they're on this planet now. They've met up with this clone. His name is Cut, and you've seen, Paul said, referenced earlier, you've seen this clone earlier in Clone Wars. He was a defector. I guess his
Deserter.
deserter.
He's a deserter.
Defector is you leave. Deserter. Defector is you go to the other side. That's right. Deserter. His squad was shot down, and he ended up hiding away here. He started a family with local, and then they have children, and so I'm not sure how Clone Force 99 knows about him. That's what we were saying. Did you guys catch, or was that the thing that we were saying? Like, we don't know how they know about.
The only thing I can sort of think of is maybe Echo, because he's a reg and he fought with Rex, right? And if they were as close as they made them out to be, then maybe Rex had told Echo about him. It's actually Echo who's like, I know of a guy, because Rex.
Okay.
Rex will say that's the only link that I can make in my mind right now, because that's all I got.
Yeah, because he knew the family knew them all, and they knew Crosshair.
Yeah, they seem very familiar.
So
like if one of my friends were to come over.
Yeah, but I don't know, who knows. Maybe they'll explain later.
That's a story for another time.
Yeah.
It's going to be another series 5 years from now. They'll call back to this.
But I thought it was cool that Rex Rex and Ahsoka
yesterday. He was there yesterday.
Yeah.
Just missed him. Yeah. I was like, dang it, I want to see Rex.
Yeah.
As fans,
I was like,
you know they're gonna show up though. You know they're gonna show up at some point, right? Like, because I think he was in the trailer. So I think he does actually show up. Like, literally.
He was in the I try to not
I don't remember
on trailers. So the point of this episode, they're trying to get off planet because the Empire is now on this planet. They're seizing, impounding ships. They're basically like documenting, taking track of ships and people. Now you need a chain code to leave the planet if you want to do space travel. And is that kind of the thing like Mando's ship? When you pulled. But this is so cool to say, Paul, when you pulled over the Mandalorian and you wanted to see his code.
No, that was something else. That was a transponder ID.
That's different because
Yeah,
he's like
we
this is
talked about
pre-Empire.
chain codes in Mandalorian though.
yeah.
And I think that I feel like this is what you were alluding to earlier, Paul, when you're talking about like things that are mentioned in other series and they come back up and they get more of an explanation. So, like, I remember that was, I think the first time we heard about chain codes was in Mandalorian season 2, right?
Yep.
And so it's kind of fun to get the backstory on where chain codes. Right.
Yeah, and they were saying, I think in season 1 of Mandalorian, they're saying, we only have the last 4 digits.
Oh, they said in season 1 too.
Of
For
Grogu. Yeah,
that's right.
of the sorry, what was the assets?
Yeah.
Last 4 digits of the assets chain code, which only gives its age basically. But I think it's really cool that they're doing that, and even Boba Fett, when he gets his armor back and he says, "Look, this is the chain code that's attached to this armor. It shows my my father and his master before him," type thing. And so, like, the timelines, I think just at a glance make sense too. That if you need this code to move about the galaxy, which is controlled by the Empire, then everybody's got to get one, unless you're a smuggler or unless you're off the grid type thing. But it's pretty much makes it impossible for you to do anything, it seems, the way they're making it, if you don't have a chain code. So I think it's pretty neat.
Well, when Boba Fett redeemed Boba Fett, the cool Boba Fett brings it up, and he's like, "Here's my father's code." That was Django was already gone at this point, right? So was there like a?
I saw chain codes described as like your like social mixed with like ancestry.com. So like it shows like your whole, like, your family history and everything's going to be all documented in there too.
Okay, that makes sense.
They're all force sensitive.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Chain codes are force sensitive, so they're everywhere. That's the blanket answer for anything we can't explain. It's the force.
The answer is midichlorians. The M count. So the main focus of this episode is now they try to get Cut and his family off planet, get them chain codes. Tech comes up with a plan to create some from this local Imperial, kind of the impound lot, I guess. But one of the greater themes in here is Hunter learning to be how to take care of a child, almost like a father figure for Omega. And I thought I hate it. It's like, oh, as a parent, this and that. But like the scene where she gets in trouble and leaving the fence, and then the animal attacks her, and Hunter's just like, "Why did you do that?" Blah blah blah. And Cut's like, "Hey, take it easy. She's not a soldier." And then he comes in. He's started a family. He knows how to like talk to children and like what's going on. And then she opens up to him. I thought that was done pretty well, pretty realistically. And how they're going to deal with the relationship between Hunter and the clones and Omega going forward. Do you guys think, like, I don't know, how did you feel about that scene?
You mean Cut showing up Hunter? Oh, you're a mean man. Oh, it's okay. He's a permissive dad. It's like, yeah, go ahead, set that thing on fire as long as you're safe. No, man. Are you kidding me? I'm on Hunter's side. You ran outside the fence. The kids told you don't run outside the fence.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. And it's just like, yeah, he's upset, but he's not mad. He's mad because he was afraid that she was going to get hurt, seriously hurt. And there's Cut being all like, oh, it's okay. You almost killed yourself and you scared the crap out of all of us. But as long as you're okay, it's no. I think it was, I think it was really well done. There was a part of me that was like, oh, I've been there. I've been Hunter. I've been Hunter more than Cut. I will admit to that. But it's like, again, hey, Star Wars with like fatherhood issues and themes. Right?
Yeah. Another reluctant father, right?
Right? Although I don't know if Hunter's that reluctant, because he really wants to go back. Yeah. He wanted to go back and save her and this and that.
And he tried to give her away.
But he did it for her.
Yeah.
It was like in Mandalorian. It's like when Din Djarin wanted to leave Grogu with that village.
Yeah.
Because he's like, this is no life for a kid.
Right.
This kid needs to grow up and be healthy and feel safe. And he's doing that. And you can tell it's killing him. He doesn't want to do that, but he's doing it for Omega. But I love the fact that she's like, nope, I'm sticking with you. Like, you're not getting rid of me. This is my choice. And I kind of dug that.
I was mad at him. He didn't tell her that he was planning on shipping her off. B, he didn't tell the other guys. Right? Because even I think Wrecker was like, where's Omega? It's like,
Point taken.
come on, Hunter.
He's only been doing this for like 5 minutes.
Share your feelings,
Real
man.
time.
Yeah.
But yeah, Paul, I have to agree with you. When stuff like that happens, my initial reaction is Hunter, and then I have to like calm down. And it's like, okay, now I'm cut.
Mm.
Right.
This is how I'm gonna deal with things. Like just that first initial reaction isn't gonna make any progress.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there are definitely some similarities between where this is going right now in the first 2 episodes and The Mandalorian as well. But there's going to be a lot more episodes, obviously. So we'll see where it branches off in terms of having 2 different stories. So then, yeah, he just Hunter thinks that it would be best to leave Omega with Cut because he's got a family with other kids. He sees the children playing together. Like you said, he doesn't want her to be on the run. That's like Paul said, that's no life for a child, kind of like Grogu. So that's what he tries. He tries to kind of hand her off, but then they end up escaping. Which ship did they end up escaping in? They get their chain codes, and then Echo is really cool because he has a robot arm now. He's basically like half clone, half R2D2.
Yeah,
he can go into all those ports that R2 does and access everything. And I looked at the hot toys of Echo last week, and he comes with like 3 or 4 different attachments to swap for his arm. So there's like a telescoping go gadget arm. There's like a claw that shoots out and grabs stuff. So it's cool to see the toys kind of grabbing onto all those cool features from the TV show. But then they end up escaping, and they help Cut and his family, and I guess they're off to the next planet, the next stop to see who can help. What happened? Shoot.
I'm trying to think what happened at the end. Do we know where they're going?
Did I gloss over the end? So this is a professional YouTube stream. I'll see you guys next week.
I don't think we know where they're going, right? We just they're going somewhere. We'll see next week.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Hunter and go ahead, Paul.
Plugged here. I'm trying to remember. Look, I watched the last 4. I watched the last 4 episodes of season 7 to prep for this, and I forgot to watch the second episode of this, basically. But I think that's the end. Like they're saved and they're off to the next stop.
Yeah.
I just watched it again last night. I have no excuses. I think that's how it ends.
I think they have like a heart-to-heart. Like Hunter's like, I'm new to this. I'm learning, and then she's like, I don't know what's going on either. They're both new here. It's my first day kind of deal. So let's just say it ends at that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a pretty good. I mean, we've been doing this an hour. That's a pretty good timing for the 2 episodes. Real quick, Paul, do you have any of the Black Series Bad Batch figures?
Yeah, I got Crosshair, Hunter, and the Elite Bad Batch Trooper. It's all in black. Yeah, that one. And I have a pre-order in for Wrecker and Tech, I believe, are the only ones left. I think, just
and
Echo.
Echo.
Yes, and Echo. Sorry.
Where did these? I'm hoping these guys come up later because I don't know why they're in the wave.
Well, but that looks a lot like because Crosshair changes.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
more like just like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, maybe it's his squad of people that he someone assigns him a bunch of soldiers to hunt down the rest of them.
Yeah,
right.
I think that's pretty sweet. Yoko, when I spoke to you this morning, you said I haven't bought any Bad Batch stuff yet because I'm not completely sold.
Yeah.
I have Hunter on pre-order at Big Bad Toy Store. A few hours later, you said, "Hey, look what I found at Target," and you were able to pick up your.
Well, I ran the gamut here in the last week. Well, because I wasn't gonna. I had opportunities to pre-order all of them, I chose not to. My friend actually saw the whole wave in stores and asked me if I wanted them, and I was like, no, I don't want them. So, I said no several times, and then I was kind of like, after watching the first two episodes, I was like, Hunter's kind of growing on me, so maybe I'll just throw him in my pile of loot, and get him when he shows up. But then I did a quick Target run this morning, and then it was just there all by itself. There were no other Star Wars figures on the shelves, but one Hunter. So it's like it's calling out to me, right? So I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna get Hunter. So I did.
They knew you were doing a stream tonight.
That's it. I'm not getting any others.
What do you mean? You're not okay. Oh, because you're not a big fan of Crosshair as much as I am. He's just absolutely villainous. He looks my friend I was asking in one of my group chats, I said, anyone seen Crosshair lately? And my friend Nelson had one on pre-order at EB Games. He's like, just go take mine for now. So I drove up after work and I was able to grab that. I know Disney Store has a Wrecker helmet that's also a mug. I kind of want to order one of those, but Disney stores are closing here in Canada, so it's going to take a little bit of work. But I'm all in for this team. I'm going to be excited to complete this team. I don't think I will be getting the Hot Toys. Paul, you like Hot Toys, but are you going to collect any of these?
You know what? I'm going to be. I don't know, because Hot Toys are amazing, but they're also super expensive, and so it's like that tipping of the scales. Do I stop collecting Black Series stuff to help fund the Hot Toys? And it goes back and forth, right? Because like Hot Toys take forever to come out sometimes, and with Black Series they just keep rolling them out. And I already have so many, but I mean it takes something special. I don't know if I'll get the Hot Toys. The Bad Batch of the Hot Toys. I think I'm pretty happy with the Black Series right now. The Hot Toys stuff, I mean, I have back there, it's like the Incinerator Trooper and the deluxe Mandalorian with Grogu Hot Toys, and then Luke Skywalker's sideshow collectible and the R2D2. But I don't know. I'd really have to take a look at it and see, because like if they're getting ready to be released, they'll probably be ready by next year. I think the release dates for the Hot Toys. Ones that they always
year. At least a year.
Yeah, by then it's like, it's a lot of money for next year. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll probably do what you did, Yoko. I'll say no, and then I'll go, oh, I really wish I should have gotten one of those. Right? So
I feel like it's hard, like especially with the Bad Batch, with the group of them, it's hard to just get one of them, right? And that's why I was saying from the beginning, like, no, I'm not going to collect Bad Batch. That's, I need to kind of limit myself a little bit with everything else going on, especially since I don't just collect Star Wars. But and so for me at first, it was easy to be like, okay, no Bad Batch, that's my rule. But I'll allow myself one Hunter. But you know what I want though? What I want, and I can't believe we didn't talk about this because it was my favorite moment of the first two episodes, was Wrecker with his little Lulu or Lula. His little stuffy. I want that. I will buy when they make it. They're gonna make it. Yeah. So.
Well, I posted an Instagram poll saying, should I open up Crosshair tonight or Thursday on Unboxing Thursdays? And majority was tonight, so here he is. Yeah. I noticed something while I was watching today. Do you think I'm reading too much into it? It's like Order 66, and then like the opposite of it, if you flip it outside, is 99. And like they're the ones that kind of go against it. Am I reading too much into it, or is just I guess
that never crossed my mind, and I'm mad that I didn't think about that. I think you're 100. That's 100% right.
But it has its advantages.
They have it right, like printed right on the front of their helmets. I think it's really awesome.
I'm like, that makes me mad that I didn't think about it myself.
Sweet. I think that's it. Next week is episode comes out 3 a.m. Friday Eastern time, or midnight for Yoko. I really enjoyed these two episodes. Paul, how about you? Well, I'm sure you.
He hated it. Yeah.
I hate this, and I'm not coming back.
I tune in to hate watch. That's what I do, right? Pick it apart, because that's where I find my joy, tugging at the little threads and seeing where it unravels. I love it, man. I really need to cut my beard. Oh God, look at that.
Is this extra bushy beard
This is a pandemic beard.
Pandemic beard?
Yeah, like I haven't been able to go out and get my guy to trim my beard, so it's getting like Asian beards don't curl up; they just grow straight out. So I feel like a chia pet right now, and it's getting like it's starting to go in a certain direction, and it's just getting a little bit too long for me right now. But yeah, we're under like our 900.
It's for a role, right?
What's that?
Just say it's for a role.
Yeah, no. Yes, it's called Shut-In Man, who's been home for 1,000,000 years. Yeah. Sorry, I just noticed that now. It's like, oh, okay.
He's gonna be a stand-in for Ewan McGregor, so they had to match the beard for the Kenobi series.
No, I'm saving it for Christmas. I'll be Asian Santa Claus.
Oh, I love seeing Asian Santa Clauses. It's fantastic. It's so funny. Oh man. But yes, this is where it's starting to veer off into the craziness. This rifle is huge. Okay, this is the guy. Why am I facing it to me? Yeah. I think this could benefit from a little bit of a wash on here and add some weathering on it. It's going to look fantastic. But he is 1 per case in that wave, I believe, same as Asajj Ventress. So if you see it, grab it. Don't wait, Yoko. And definitely get into that. I'm excited for the next episode. Anything else that I missed? Because, I'm so well organized here.
No, this is great. Thanks for having me on. I look forward to doing it again next week if we're doing it again.
Yeah.
Every Monday, so I'm hoping that we're sticking with that.
I'm down. Whenever, if you guys, I'm obviously you're both welcome. I do hope that you both are here every week. Otherwise, if it's just me, it's going to be a shit show. As you can see how well planned I am.
Neither of us deny that.
Yeah, thanks, guys. You've been great. Definitely expect to be back next week. No, it's honestly, thank you so much for being on. Paul, where can people keep up with you?
You can find me on Instagram as Angry Uppa. I'm on Twitter, although I haven't been posting very much lately, at Bitter Asian Dude. I've got a YouTube channel, Bitter Asian Dude Inc. My Geeky Basement. I do unboxings and stuff and some live streams. Actually, coming up, I'm doing a live stream with James Reyes. He's an illustrator. He's done work for Marvel and Lucasfilm and whatnot. And so we're doing a piece. He's drawing every single Jedi in Star Wars canon in like 24 hours or something like that. He does these challenges. And it's off the hook. Yeah, no, his artwork is amazing. So we're doing that either this Sunday or the next. I can't remember. That's
incredible.
That's me.
Awesome. And Yoko, what about yourself?
I'm at Yoko McCann on Twitter and Instagram and YouTube, and then at Livin La Vida Yoko on Twitch.
Sweet. You guys catch me between streams. I'm on Instagram at Toying Around, Twitter, I'm Toying Around. Thursday, I'll be doing unboxing Thursdays. It's Asian Heritage Month. I've been trying to bring on more Asian collectors in the community, just talk about stuff and open toys this month. So it's going to be, I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm very happy to have you both on this evening. If you guys like what's going on, please go ahead, consider subscribing. These two amazing guests also have their channels as well. So like Paul said, he's got the stream going on with artist James, which Raise, yeah. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out. And if they're not fed up with me after today, we'll hopefully be back next Monday at 9 p.m. Thank you everyone for watching, and have yourselves a great night. Peace.
Thank you.
Bye.